right, so what we're going to go over today is how to make your reaction timing for combinations faster. So here's the thing. A lot of people can identify an opening and hit it with a punch, right? That's not an easy thing to do. More practice you get at it, the better you get at it. But that's kind of an incomplete skill set to have. So we're going to talk about reducing the reaction time for combinations. The easiest thing to do is to have preset two-punch combinations. So that's step number one. We're going to work solely on those. So I want you to go back over to the bag, and all you're going to do is put together a nice two-punch combination, right? 1-2 is kind of obvious. I would say at the minimum, like 2-3, right? You see the opening for the 2, you throw the 2, and you automatically come back with the 3, right? That's the first step. So we're just going to work on that, right? So figure out 3 total, two-punch combinations and work those. So it could be like 2-3, 5-2, 7-8, let's say. Something like that, right? But give me 3 two-punch combinations, and I want you to work them fast, work them hard, work them from different ranges, levels, and angles. All right, go ahead.
Any recommendations on improving reaction times?
Yep. So, I went by and checked most of yours. One of you failed to follow instructions, but the rest of you got it. All right, so these are my 3, right? Just kind of generically. 2-3, 3-2, 3-6. And since I like throwing hooks, makes sense. I usually set my 2 up. My 2 is kind of my second most thrown punch, but I don't really try to use that as a knockout punch. I kind of use that as like a continuous, like, wearing down punch. I jab a lot and I throw a lot of 2s. I fish them in, I throw an inside 2, so I'm usually pretty good at being able to land a solid straight. And then once the straight, they start figuring out how to evade that, then I come off to the right and try throwing some 4s in there, change the angle of approach, makes it a little bit more difficult, right? That's just kind of how you have to evolve through these procedures, right, or through this process. So what we would be doing ideally is we'd be taking our 3 combinations and we'd work it for like 2 or 3 days. We'd start off on the bag, you'd work on throwing it at different ranges, levels, and angles, and then we'd put it on the mitts, and you'd work it on the mitts with different ranges, levels, and angles, and then you would try it on a person. And you don't even have to be trying to brain each other, right? Just put yourself in good foot position, and then discharge the combination. Then you spar, you just throw 1s and 2s, you feel each other out, and then when you see the opening, you throw the shot. And like if you do it over the course of 3 days, you just focus on 1 each day, right? You get in there, you throw hands 10, 20 minutes, you just work on 1, I'm setting it up, and then pop, pop, 2, 3, 2, 3, right? And you just work it in. At the end of the day, you have to like work on skill sets individually and then put them together. So this is just kind of the crawl, walk, run process for this. And then on top of that, you work on reaction timing, and then you work on punch identification reaction timing, which is different. Good pad man's gonna hold his mitt up for half a second, and you have to touch it. Because if you can't touch it, you can't hit it. So the best punch reaction time, can you hit it? Because once you can touch it, then you can touch it a little bit harder, then you can actually punch it, right? You gotta practice that. It's just another skill you have to cultivate. All right, so that's working it in with the mitts. So then you learn 5 to 6 auto response, what we call triggers, that become drills with your 2-punch combinations. So every time you see your opponent step to this position, like if AB and I were fighting and he stepped off over to his right, I would automatically throw 3-2. And you just practice that every time they move over. That's the trigger to throw that 3-2. Then you work on, all right, if he walks straight across my center line, now I'm going to throw 2-3 automatically. Next time he crosses the center line, doesn't matter which way, bang, he winds up there, ba-ba. And you work that, right? That's how you determine a trigger. Then you start practicing every time you see your opponent do it, you throw the trigger. Then you do it to different opponents. You get 3 different guys that you spar. Now in the course of a week, you figured out 5 or 6 different auto response triggers that you can work on different people because it's going to look a little different with everybody. So after you get them faster individually, Then you put two of them together. Then you say, all right, 2, 3, 2. Because 2, 3, 2 is just an amalgamation of these two. Instead of me going 2, 3, 3, 2, I just go 2, 3, 2. Now you've put two together, and now you have a 3-punch combination that you can base off of the reaction timing of that one combination that you worked on earlier. Does that all make sense? Yes. All right. And then you just repeat it with more combinations. Over time, you're going to have a nice little stable of auto-response combinations that you can use with no thought required. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So now I want you to try to string together your multiple combinations. So any one that finishes, like with 2, 3, 3, 2, the first combination finishes with the 3, the second one begins with the 3. So out of your combinations, if you have that happen, work on that. Just go, all right, this goes straight across, now I have 3 punches. If none of yours align like that, add an additional punch in there. So like if you're doing 3, 2, 3, 6, right? What you could do is 2, 3, 2, 3, 6. Does that make sense, right? Just add another one to work on another transition, or put an intervening punch in between your two combinations. All right? Let's give it a whirl. AB, let me borrow you for a second. All right. So this is going to be a deceptively difficult exercise. All right? So remember how I was talking about earlier about how all we're going to do is touch the target. Hit the target with the jab. That's it. You see, I'm giving him enough of a window that he can reach out and touch it. He just has to know when it's coming. And then I'm going to do things like that. There we go. Good. Doesn't have to be hard, right? Remember, the object of this is not for you to hit it hard. The object of this is to be able to hit it at all. As the exercise progresses, I make it a little bit more challenging for him. Oh, almost. There it is. Good. Now, what are some of the things that he can do to make this easier? All right, A, look for a telegraph. I'm probably going to do something with my foot, shoulder, or elbow. In this case, if I don't step, the elbow is going to be the number one tell. There it is. See? If I exaggerate the movement of the elbow, I could go slow. Or I could go fast. He almost got it. Now he's looking at the elbow. If I step, he still has that same tell. What else can he do? He can relax. All right, stand right here.
Relax.
Just relax, because the problem is if he gets tense, everything's going to move slower. But if he stays relaxed, hold up your hand. See? There it is. Stay relaxed. It's there. Once you can touch it, then you can work on hitting it. But until you can't, and until you can touch it, there ain't no point. That's why people that get real tense before they jab, they never land their jab. And then they can't land any of their other punches effectively, right? Stay loose. Be able to touch it. The more you work on that sense of feel, that before you learn how to punch, the better your punches are going to come out. Does that make sense? All right. So one of you, whoever's taller, your partner A, hold up your hand. I think it's Matt. Right? Hold up your hand. All right. So you're going to go first. We're going to go 3 minutes. And then you're going to swap. Right? So you're the person who's going to punch. The other person is going to hold the mitt up. It's just going to be their glove. Use your left side glove. Well, except for the wrong hander. So what were your 3 combinations? Do you remember?
2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 2.
All right, we'll do 2, 3 because that's a nice easy one. But what we're going to do is every time you see me cross your center line, that's going to be the trigger. So if I'm over here, don't worry about it. You just stay there. But if I wind up here,
2, 3.
Yep.
Do I move with you? on
Nope,
that?
we're gonna start nice and easy, right? So the person punching is gonna be nice and static, right? The crawl, walk, run. This is the crawl phase.
Got it.
Good. Ah! Ah!
Yeah, cross the sun.
There we go. Ah, you see that now? See? So the puncher's going to stay static. The person who's receiving the combination is going to hear the combination. And we'll just, actually, you know what? Let's start really easy. Everybody's just going to do a 2-3. So the puncher's just going to throw a 2-3. Whoever's receiving the punches, you'll start off the center line. You'll get to the center line, bop, bop, and then you'll move back off. Then you'll try the other side. I'm over here, bop, bop, and then I'll move off. Right? If you want, you go from one side to the other. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. Like that, right? Because the drill's not for you, the drill's for the puncher. You're just feeding. All right?
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a whirl.
There you go.
More. All right, so while you're working, so that was pretty good. Y'all saw how hard that was, right? Boxing ain't easy, turns out. All right. All right, so while you're trying to figure out this process, here's a streamlined kind of reiteration of what we went over before, where this is like, all right, break up 2 to 3 or 2 punch combos based on range, trigger, angle, or opening, right? So these are kind of the things you want to use as the basis of your combination. Either they're going to move into range, they're going to do a specific thing. We did a center line trigger drill. Their angle, which could be center line, or could be if they move off to your left, bang, you throw something, they move off to your right, you throw this instead. They stayed up in front of you, you throw this instead. If you have 3 options, now you got something automatic that you can just throw regardless of where they're standing. Or break them up into what feels good and won't get you whacked, right? Don't do a thing that's going to get you punched in the mouth. Right. So like if you decide that it's going to be a good idea to drop your hands when somebody walks onto your center line, you're probably going to get punched. So that's not a good trigger reaction, right? So this one is going to be for the more experienced guys, right? This is oh, hey, I'm just learning how to do this. Stick with this one, right? Lastly, it's easier to start with the second punch in mind first. So if you look here, second punch is the same. How did I get there? 2, 3, nice. 6, 3. So I got blah, blah, or I got blah, blah, like beautiful. Over here, I got 1, 2, nice. 3, 2, nice. 5, 2, nice. 7, 2, nice. Okay, smiley face, smiley face. But what do we have here in the middle? Oh no! Because I started with the first punch and I was like 4, 5. Okay, 4. And then I got lost in my own gaze. That's how I know I did something stupid. So we get a frowny face there. You always want to start with the end in mind. What is my intent? Well, if I'm trying to get off 2 or 3 punches as fast as possible, where do I want to end up afterwards? And if you start your planning process, then that's how you make the objective meet the starting conditions. And now what you're doing is you're just thinking strategically, and you're always trying to dictate the terms of every engagement, which is one of my fundamental principles. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Now, you can either continue doing the partner drills, or if you're sick of your partner, you could go off and you could do shadow boxing. But I want you to take the 3 combinations you worked and either work with the partner, right? And keep working like a trigger drill. You don't have to use the center line. You can use something else, or just go and shadow box. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Good work. You got 4 minutes.